Go.
Hi everyone, I'm Keith Donaldson, a local designer from Calgary, Alberta. This is Diceborn Heroes. It's a 1 to 4 player cooperative fantasy dice game, similar to a lot of Japanese RPGs and video games that I grew up with. I really felt like I wanted to create an experience on a tabletop with a group of friends. So I decided to make this game where you're going to each be assigned certain groups of heroes and you'll be choosing to go on quests. And the choices of these quests are going to be adding cards for future and upcoming games as well. So the way it's going to work is you have 4 different starting classes of heroes. In this case, we're going to go over here. We have a thief. The thief has 3 health, and the thief is really good at avoiding attacks as well as being able to steal items. The priest is your healer and is really good at dealing extra damage against undead enemies. Your fighter can block and can counterattack as well as having the most health. And then the mages are really good at dealing damage to multiple targets. So you're going to pick a team of 3 heroes with 1 player. If you have 2 players, you're each going to be controlling 2 of a team of 4. Or if you have 4 players, you're each going to be controlling 1 hero. So in this case, we're going to do a team of 3. We're going to remove the thief for now. We're going to have a team of a priest, a fighter, and a mage. So these are your group of heroes. So if you notice on the cards, each of these heroes has 3 different attacks that have a little dice slot for each one of them. So the way that works is you're going to receive a die based on the color on the bottom left corner of each one of these attacks. Then you're going to be rolling a pool of die for each of your heroes. After which, you can assign dice to each of these heroes to do different actions. The bottom value for each of these cards can be any number, but the top 2 have to be a minimum value for those attacks to actually go through. Now, there's going to be monster cards that are going to show up, and each of these monsters are going to receive attack cards as well. And the way that it's going to work is it's going to be an active time battle system, where the lowest numbers are going to go first, and they're slowly going to work their way up towards the highest numbers. So often the higher number attacks are more powerful, whereas the low ones, you could potentially avoid attacks as well as getting in attacks early. So for setup here, we're going to give each hero one of these hero tokens. So these tokens are special abilities these heroes have that they can do in between attacks to give them an edge in battle. So for example, the priest can use one of these hero tokens, flip it over to exhaust it, in order to prevent a damage that would be coming in. At the end of the quest, once all the monsters are defeated, you're going to be able to replenish all those tokens that you used up and use for the next quest. So you're going to be going on 3 different quests, and then afterwards you're going to be facing a final boss together. And how well you do will kind of determine the outcome and will determine which cards are going to be in the next time you play. So we're going to start off here. We have each of our heroes selected. We're going to receive 3 green dice. Plus, we're going to receive an additional green die for the player's control. Okay, so we have our dice ready. Then we're going to draw a random quest off the level 1 quest tree. The first one's random, and then the choices that you make during these quests are going to determine which paths you end up taking as you go through. So in this first quest that we drew, we ended up in a haunted forest. And it says that a group of heroes are sent to search the woods for clues on villagers who have gone missing. But little do they know that they are being hunted. So our 2 choices are, we can choose to save the missing king, which would discard this stalker card, and would add an enemy attack card into the attack deck that is stalked. Now this stalked card means that the spider could randomly come up in future battles that we come across. However, if we do save him, we're going to get one of these relics. In this case, we get the relic Silk Robe. Or we can choose to fight the spider right now. And if we do fight him, we avoid having this attack card getting shuffled into the deck. However, we're going to be revealing additional monsters as well as dealing with this guy. So in this case, you would discuss with your teammates on which path you think would be the best for your group right now. Right now, I feel like we have a healer, so this poison damage is probably mitigatable. So we're going to deal and face with the spider this time. So once you've chosen your quest path, then you're going to be revealing monsters off the enemy attack deck. So you reveal one monster for each hero that's on your team. So we're going to reveal 3 additional monsters. So we have a goblin, a ghost, and a wolf. All right, so these are the 4 enemies that we have to deal with. We have our 3 heroes, and we've made an attack deck. So the attack deck, we're going to grab 4 attack cards for each hero that we're coming in with. So we have an attack deck consisting of 12 cards for this case. Now the attack decks are going to be the cards that are going to be revealed for each of these enemies. And they're going to have a value on it that's who they're going to be looking for as a target, as well as when they're going to resolve. So the first thing we do, now that we're in the attack stage, is we're going to roll our pool of dice, and then we're going to assign values. Alright, so in this case we've got a bit of variety. We have the low ones, we have some high attack dice. So we're going to set up, we're going to say our mage is going to do a lightning attack. Fighter is going to come up with a full body slam, and I think the priest is going to put up a shield for purify and deal damage to undead enemies. Because our ghost is an undead enemy, and I feel like we could probably take it out in 1 hit. Alright, so now that the heroes have all done their attacks, we're going to reveal an attack card for each one of these enemies. So our attack dice are locked in, and then we're going to reveal them from left to right. So Spider gets a 5, Goblin has a 6, Ghost has a 5, a Wolf has a 4. Now the attack cards are more skewed towards higher numbers, so they're always going to look for that attack value or anything greater than it as well. So we're going to look for the lowest number, and that person is going to resolve their attack first. In this case, the Wolf is going to get the jump at us. It has a 4. So the attack on the Wolf is shown at the very bottom of the card. Its health points are on the right side, and on the left side is the number of cards it's going to put back into our attack deck. So its attack's going to resolve. It's going to do 1 damage to 2 targets. And it's going to look for something that's 4 or greater. So the first target it's going to hit is going to be our mage. It's going to do 1 damage. So place 1 wound counter directly below the mage to show that it's taken a hit. Then it's going to look for another target. And now, because both the fighter and the priest have a 6, we can choose to assign it to whoever helps us the best right now. In this case, our fighter has the most health, so we're going to let the fighter take the hit on this one. After the wolf's done its attack, you're going to remove this attack card and put it into a discard pile over on the right. Alright, next numbers are 5s. So again, we have a 3-way tie between our mage, the spider, and the ghost. So we can separate them out however we see fit. So we're going to have our mage hit first in this case. His attack is 1 damage to 2 targets as well. So we're going to put 1 damage on this goblin, and we're going to do 1 damage to the spider. The goblin has 3 health, so it's down to 2, and the spider is down to 3 health. So once your hero's attacks are done, I just move it over to a little bit to the left to show that its attack's been resolved. Next up is the spider. It's going to do 1 damage, and it's going to apply a poison condition to that target. So the way poison works is, at the end of each round, each poisoned hero is going to suffer 1 wound. So in this case, he is going to be going after a 5, which is our mage. So our mage is going to take 1 damage, and he's going to get one of these poison markers. Okay, so at the end of the round, he's going to receive the last bit of damage, and that's going to kill him. So we're going to have to work together. In this case, I'm going to use the priest's ability to prevent one of these damage, so that way he doesn't die at the end of the round. Okay, that's the spider's attack that's been resolved. Next up, we have our ghost. Our ghost is going to do 1 damage, and it's going to be looking for a 5. That's going to be rough, because it's going to attack our mage again. And that's going to bring him up to 2 damage and 1 health remaining. So that's the end of the ghost attack. So next up we have 6s. Again, we have a 3-way tie between our fighter, our priest, and the goblin that's up ahead. So the goblin is pretty nasty because its attack is going to steal the assigned dice away from its target. So that target won't be able to pull off its attack if it's still coming up. So we're going to attack it first to try to take it out. First up, we're going to use the priest attack. So the Purify is going to place 1 shield on that priest. So we get a shield token. We're going to put that just below to mark that it's being shielded. So shields will prevent the first damage that that hero receives. So instead of taking a wound, it just loses one of its shield tokens. Then the rest of its attack says it'll do 2 damage, or 3 if the target is undead. So we're going to target the ghost, because it's an undead enemy. The types of the enemies are shown just above the card. So it's going to suffer 3 damage. So we put 3 wound tokens on it. Now the ghost has 3 health, so it would be immediately defeated. If it was still around, the ghost has an ability in red, which is a passive ability, that would let it counterattack. Because our hit defeated it before it had a chance to counterattack, it is considered defeated. So you remove all the wound tokens, and then you're going to take the card, add it to a pool of defeated monsters that you have. This will come into handy later on in the game. Then the reward that's shown on the left side is the number of cards that are going to get put back into the attack deck. So when we separate out our attack deck, we have created a supply of cards that are not part of the immediate deck. So we're going to add 2 cards from the supply directly on top of the attack deck. And those are going to be the next cards that come through. If it ever comes to a point where we're not able to reveal cards from the attack deck because it's run out of cards, each of the heroes are going to be taking damage. So it's always good to be able to defeat enemies timely in order to keep that deck fully stocked. Alright, so our next attack is going to be the fighter. So the fighter's attack says Body Slam. It's going to do 3 damage to one target, but then the hero is going to suffer 1 damage as well. So we're going to use this attack right now, and we're going to deal 3 damage right to the Stalker Spider. So it has 3 health remaining, so it's going to be defeated, and it's going to go immediately into our pool. Then the rest of our attack says that hero suffers 1 damage, so I put another damage token beside him. And we get 2 attack cards added back into the attack deck. And that goes directly on top. Then lastly, we have the Goblin, who's going to go next. So the Goblin's attack is going to do 1 damage, and it's going to steal a die from the target. So we're going to select the Priest as the target. So the 1 damage it's going to get is going to get shielded by the Priest shield token. However, the Goblin's still going to steal away that die. So the Goblin's going to hold on to that die until we either steal it back or we defeat that Goblin. So now we're down to 3 dice left. Alright, so now that all the attacks have finished resolving, you're going to get all your dice back, except for the one that's stolen by the Goblin, of course. And then we're going to start over again. So at the end of the round, the mage is poisoned, so it's going to suffer another damage. And that is going to knock out our mage. So when a mage is knocked out, they lose their hero token ability, and they can't be assigned die for the rest of this round. We can revive him, however, with our priest's ability to prevent bad stuff from happening. So we're going to roll our pool of dice. Alright, so we rolled 3 2s. We don't have very many options in this case, so we're kind of stuck with our 2 bottom abilities. So we're going to assign the Holy Light for the priest, and then do a bash attack with our fighter. Okay, so once we finish assigning dice, we're going to reveal attack cards for each of these monsters. So the Goblin's going to get a 3, and then the Wolf is going to get a block. So, in this case now, our dice, the 2s are the lowest dice, so they're going to be able to attack first. So, the fighter's ability, Bash, lets us do 1 damage to an enemy. We're going to do 1 damage to this Goblin, try to take him out. Next up is the Priest. The Priest's ability, Holy Light, lets us either remove 1 wound from a hero, or deal 1 damage to an enemy. So we're going to use that Holy Light to deal 1 damage to the Goblin. That's going to knock the guy out. So now that he has 3 wounds, he is defeated. So remove the wound tokens, we get our die back. He goes into the defeated monsters pool, and he's going to get us 2 attack cards back into our attack deck. So because the attack supply is empty, we're going to shuffle this discard pile, and then we're going to be adding 2 of these ones back on top. And then this becomes our new supply. Okay, so that's both of our hero abilities that have been done. Next up, the Wolf is going to add 1 shield token to it. It's not going to attack this round, it's all by itself. Alright, so we get all our dice back again. Our mage is still knocked out, hopefully we have an opportunity to revive him before this wolf gets knocked out. If at the end of the round, one of your heroes remains knocked out, he gets revived automatically once you go into town. However, you're going to shuffle in one of these peril attack cards into your attack deck. And that's going to slowly start making cards run through your deck a lot quicker. So we're going to try our best to revive him. We have 2 4s and 2 1s. So I'm going to use the 4 to use the Priest's Revive ability, which requires a 4 or greater. And that's going to let us revive our defeated mage. Next up, I'm going to assign a 4 onto the fighter to do a block and counter ability. So anything in red are passive abilities that will trigger whenever that hero has a die assigned to them. So our counter ability means that whenever he is the target of an enemy attack, he will deal back 1 damage to the attacking enemy. So now that we're done, we're going to reveal 1 card for our wolf friend here. He's got a 6, so he's going to be going last. So first things first, my revive ability is going to revive our mage. Revive says remove all wounds and then leave wounds remaining so that it has 1 health. 1 HP remaining. So our mage is back, he's got 1 health remaining. Then our counter ability is going to add a block shield onto our hero. Then the wolf is going to go. He's going to do 1 damage to 2. He's going to look for a 6. Because none of our heroes have a 6 assigned, he just completely misses. So he doesn't attack this round. Then we get our dice back, and we get to go again. Alright. So we've got 3 4s and a 2. So now that our mage is back in action, we're going to set up a frost attack. I'm going to use revive to help heal, and then we're going to do a bash attack. Now I could have assigned the 2 on the bash, but I'm going to keep them all the same. It gives us a lot more flexibility when the enemies are attacking. Plus, because my fighter has a shield, that way he can take damage if the wolf is deciding to attack. So he's going to get a card, and sure enough, it's going to be a 4. So we're going to, now that they would all resolve at the same time, I'm going to have the mage go first. So the mage's frost attack is going to do 1 damage. Because the wolf has a shield, it gets blocked. Next up, my fighter is going to go. It's going to do 1 damage. And then my priest is going to go. He's going to remove 2 wounds. I'm going to heal 2 off of my mage, so he's back to full health. So the wolf is going to go. It's going to do 1 damage to 2 targets. So in this case, I'm going to select the fighter for 1. He's got a shield token, so that's going to prevent that. And then the mage for the other one. So the mage's frost ability has a counter attack of 1 damage. So the wolf suffers 1 back in return. Alright, so the wolf has 2 health. So I figure we can probably take him out this round. So we gather our dice, 1 more round. And we've got 1, 2, 3, and a 5. So, whoops, I'm going to put those out, the low numbers out, so that we can potentially kill it before it has a chance to attack. And then he gets an attack card from our attack deck. It's a 6. So we have an opportunity to attack it. So I'm going to use the Priest Hoylite to heal a hero instead, because we have enough damage coming through with the other guys. Okay, then my mage is going to do 1 damage to the wolf. And the fighter is going to do 1 damage. And that is a dead wolf. So now he's defeated. This card gets discarded. He gets added to our defeated enemies pool. And we get 3 cards put back into our attack deck. There we go. So now all the monsters are defeated. We go to the cleanup phase. So in the cleanup phase, you'd remove any status conditions, but you'd keep the wound tokens that are on your heroes. All the dice can be put aside. And the first thing you do is when you get to town is you get to buy items from the item deck. So the item deck has a bunch of one-use items. You'll reveal 3 of these cards. And then from these cards, you can choose to spend your defeated monsters to gain extra bonuses. In this case, we've got a stun elixir we can use to stun some enemies, super potion we can use to heal, and a torchlight which will let us see the enemy's attack cards before we put out dice. So in this case, I'm going to spend 3 of my attack cards, or defeated monsters, to get a super potion. These are going to go back into the enemy attack deck at the bottom, and we've got a super potion for us if we ever need it. So the rest we're going to put aside for now. Then we get to level up our heroes. So when leveling up your heroes, you're going to be looking at their abilities and deciding whether you want to gain a virtue, which is going to give you extra abilities and extra dice, or if you want to change classes. So if you're changing classes, you can flip your card over. And on the back side of the hero card, it's going to give you a choice of different classes that you can level up to, as well as 1 of 2 abilities that you can choose to carry forward. So you're going to pick one of those 2 abilities, grab in a hero card that matches. So our mage is going to become an illusionist, and just cover up the remainder of the card with your new hero attack card. So now with your new hero, you're going to have an additional attack, a new hero ability, plus you also get more dice. So our mage is going to become an illusionist. Our priest is going to level up, and we're going to keep our revive because that was very useful, and we're going to give him the time sage ability. And then our fighter, I think we're going to leave our fighter as a fighter, and we're going to get a virtue. So there's 2 different starting virtues you can grab. These will give you additional colored dice plus an additional 2 health. So we're going to make our fighter an adept fighter. All right. Now, each of these heroes has the opportunity to rest at the inn as well, while you're in the village, to help remove some of these wounds. So these 2 are fully healed. There's no wounds on them. However, our fighter is at half health right now, and he could probably use a rest. If you decide to rest at the inn, it is going to cost you 1 card off the top of your enemy attack deck. So it's always a difficult choice whether or not it's time to rest. So in this case, because we did pretty well, we're going to rest. We lose 1 card off the top of the deck, but we can remove all the wounds off of 1 hero. Alright, so now that we leveled up our heroes, our hero abilities refresh, and then we're going to go back to our quest phase. So if you look at our previous card, the option that we took, Face the Stalker, has a little symbol on the top left of it. And that signifies where our next quest is going to take us. So because we did Face the Stalker, we're going to reveal the quest card that matches that symbol. In this case, we're going to go to the White Manor. So that's our new quest, and we're going to set up and choose quest options just like we did before. You're going to go on to 3 quests, and then you'll be facing a final boss. After you finish your final boss, you're going to put any relics that you received back into the back into the item deck, and then any enemy attack cards that were shuffled into the attack deck remain there the next time you guys play. So the choices you make are going to affect the next generation of heroes that will jump in to take on the shoes. And that's Diceborn Heroes. It takes about 60 to 90 minutes, and it's good for players, for 1 to 4 players, up to 10 and up. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Bye.